Were you able to check out the little Fandub documentary?
Yeah, I did. I watched the whole thing.
How much of this shit did you know? Because I really felt like I was digging through the morgue files on it.
Okay, I knew about some of the old comic, like the Evangelion one. I'd actually only heard about it because I was young enough at the time to hear older otaku talk about, oh yeah, this plays at this convention, at Otakon, at this, at that, and I was mesmerized by that. I remember there was this one from Mike Labrie from Kanzenshuu and his people who made one with Fushigi Yugi, something very similar.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. This is Otakudom.
This is Otaku. Yes, this is Otakudom.
Hi, I'm Marty. I'm a filmmaker. Perhaps you've heard of Citizen Lane.
Rosebud, I just heard about Otakon. It's an anime convention.
Otakon?
Yeah, there's a dealer's room, fan subs, MT3K, cosplay, music videos, art room, and
hentai? Alright, we're going.
I know what goes on at conventions. I was a Trekkie.
but all of us from the anime club are going.
No daughter of mine is going to wake up naked in a crowded hotel room with a bottle of tequila in one hand and a tribble in the other.
Treble?
I was so psyched the moment I finally was able to burn the DVD to play it on my DVD player because that's how you had to do it back then. Yeah.
And This is Otakudom is a masterpiece of freaking fan dubbing. It's such a seamless story.
Absolutely. Oh my God, there's the line, parents always told us to say no to drugs, but honestly, crack cocaine would have been a less expensive habit. That's a paraphrase of the line, but that will stick with me forever. This entire idea of making all these characters going to an anime convention. I love that.
It's so good. Well, I made a project that got compared to This is Otakudom a while back, except we were significantly darker and bleaker. Oh, yeah. No, it was called Too Kawaii for Comfort. And the concept behind it was just like, okay, but what if Lars von Trier made a series about going to...
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh, no, this is only the bad parts. Like, no jokes. Like, no, so it's just people having a bad time at an anime convention. Because you and I remember... This is Otakudom. The discrepancy between the views that this stuff has on YouTube versus the cultural relevance that it used to have back when all of this was more centralized at cons. It's tragically understandable, but a little bit depressing, especially because like when it comes to DBZA, there's a cross-generational appeal, but there's something that's kind of lost about now that anime is so accessible. It's kind of reached a mainstream where I don't think people remember just how hard this stuff used to be to get and how niche this culture really was.
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember way back in the... Oh, wait, hold on. Before I say this, I have to get this out of there. You said Lars von Trier making a movie about, like, otaku. Antichrist. Okay, there, I got it out of my system.
Oh!
Sorry, I had to get that out of my system.
10 points for Gryffindor on that one. My gosh. Sorry, I can't make that joke anymore.
We got to figure out some new cultural touchstones.
10 points for Hogglepuff.
For Hogglepuff, correct. No, we love Hatsune Miku and her book series Harry Potter, okay?
Yeah.
No, it was impossible. Okay, I want to... Some anime fans nowadays don't know how hard we had it. Do you children understand that back in my day to watch Cowboy Bebop, you didn't buy the DVD box set with all 26 episodes for $30, or maybe even $39. Oh, $39, that's so much. I spent $29 for 4 goddamn episodes at a Suncoast. Do you know what a Suncoast is? No, you don't, okay? So, maybe next time, check your privilege.
Dial back a bit to what I thought was interesting about AMVs and fandubs. At one point, it was started in one room, and that room was Lunacon 83. It was a bunch of geeks in a room, and they were watching Star Blazers, and they played one Star Blazers AMV and one Star Blazers parody fandub, and that was literally every AMV and every fandub in existence happening in one room.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of how hard geeks had it, like that's how you used to watch Star Blazers, was you had marathon screenings of it. So when I was making this project, which was an insanely overlong video that I pushed my luck on, the cool thing about the internet, let me ask you this, had you heard of You Say Yamato, the first fandub?
You Say Yamato?
Yes, after the You Say Potato, I Say Potato song.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That must be it. Yep.
And the crazy thing, I make this video, it's still only at like 10,000 views. There are freaking otaku who saw Yusei Yamedo posting about it and leaving comments on it on this video.
Oh my god.
I was shocked. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's actually sort of amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm like, the internet's fucking incredible. So I'm getting firsthand accounts on like what the old guard of like con-only parody fandubs had to include. And Yusei Yamedo only existed on one VHS tape because they were so nervous about other people copying it. And that's how closely guarded this was.
You know, one thing I want to say about those older comedy fandubs, and I really do mean this sincerely, I think they had a quality to them, both charming in their, how do you put this, in their rough cut, because back in the day, to make this work, it was a struggle. You could have just ripped the footage and then use a fucking editing software. You were doing a billion different insane things that would make any millennial just break down and cry. I gotta give it up for Gen X on this one. My God. One of the cool things about it isn't just the ingenuity and the hard work that went into it. And it isn't just the charm of it, you know, in its kind of rudimentary early state. It's also, it felt like a lot of them were genuinely trying to make real comedy out of it.
Thank you all for coming, and thanks for all the toasters. I love them. And special thanks to General Leonard, who brought the hookers and the potato salad. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you, Miss A.
We're here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and we're all out of ass, so we're just chewing bubblegum.
I don't want to say that, oh, comedy has gotten worse over the years, because in certain extents it has, and in certain extents it hasn't. But one of the things that I have seen, and this kind of ties back into what you said about comedy in fan spaces, and how a lot of it is notorious for being very bad. I think that it has gotten to this point where a lot of people use memes or long-running jokes or just stuff that they've pulled from other comedies that they've seen and use that and think, I'll just put this into those characters, into these characters' mouths, and that will be funny. And as somebody who did a commentary on his first season and was face in palm for a majority of it, I am no stranger. I am not without sin. I am throwing this stone knowing very well that my glass house has fallen down around me. I've accepted that.
Hey, I'm here.
Boobs! I mean, Bulma. Hi.
We didn't have characters for anybody yet.
How did anybody watch past our first episode?
I don't know.
Question.
The way that I've looked at it is cringe is a state of matter. You know, like sometimes we're water, sometimes we're air, sometimes we're cringe.
Yes. And I look at a lot of those older ones and you'll definitely see references. You will always see references. That was sort of inescapable in fan communities, but it did feel like at the time they were trying to maybe make a pastiche, but still say something original. Still try and make original comedy out of it.
Come see our fan parody! Oh, come on, please!
Well, the crazy thing with all of those were the first copy pastas. And that was because it was all shared through analog and tagged on the back of tapes. The Dirty Pair Does Dishes.
Here lies Carl Masak, who was executed after a showing of Robotech the movie.
The more I read about it, the more that this sounds like this was the first truly infamous parody fandub, and everyone had seen it so many times, they all got so fucking sick of it. Tragically, it looks like one of them, this is how niche this is. I found Pine Salad's like old channel, which I found fascinating because they had like vintage con footage and like real VHS stuff from like the 80s. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is crazy. They had a new channel where the only update on it was that one of the members who did some of the voices, including the animatronic monster Terry the Terrible that comes out and tries to convert you to the church.
I am Terry the Terrible. Repent, sinners. Judgment Day is at hand. Read the Bible.
Recently passed away this summer in June. And the thing that I was shocked about this was that Pine Salad's current YouTube channel has 2 subscribers on it, and one of them is me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how buried to history this kind of was. But I'd love to track down Pam Buck, who was like the voice of Kay on there.
Get to the point, Luigi. I hope you have a good assignment for us this time. Something with violence, guns, cute guys.
And being a woman active in that space at that time, you must have some incredible stories.
I actually did not know about Dirty Pair Does the... Was it the Dirty Pair Does Dishes? I immediately looked it up because I was curious. There's a fan lore wiki that is... I love this. I could get lost on this website. I always feel like I'm hearing this like, oh yeah, there was this old other fan dub. And every time I see that, there's a part of me that instantly wants to get on it. I want to know all about these. I want to learn all about these. Honestly, when I heard that you were making this and I watched your original video, I was absolutely thrilled.
I'm so happy. Oh my God, Senpai noticed me.
Well, it's really cool because I've lived in fan spaces for so long. I've lived in 2 different big fan spaces. I'm a furry and I'm a big anime guy. And so I've got 2 whole fandoms that I love and thrive in. And when it comes to the anime stuff, there is this long list of content that a lot of younger people have never ever seen, never got the chance to see, and it might be lost media.
Yeah, fortunately luckily for the most part, it is scarce media. It is not completely lost. There's some of it, it's still hanging around on like Vimeo, or I really recommend going on a treasure hunt on this someday, because there are people who like 3 or 4 years ago will be like, hey, I was this guy that made a lot of anonymous AMVs back in the 90s. Here, I'm finally uploading some of them. And, what's weird and what I feel personally protective about, and what I, wanted to talk with you about, is that it's a culture that was really, hip hop is celebrated as a major cultural remix movement and its underground roots, which were, just as illegal technically as fan dubs. You guys are doing, and what the abridging movement does, and what all of these AMVs and fan dubs were remixing.
Actually, like one of the terms that I've seen used by some of the people who have made who were making those old videos, they call it remix culture. In fact, when the Abridged series stuff was coming along, they were saying, "Hey, this is the next step. This is the evolution of remix culture," and I embrace it. I fully embrace that as a way to explain what this is. It is a remix of something you originally loved. It is a celebration of something you originally loved. It's a re-exploration of something you originally loved. And I love that. I love that. I love to see more of it. I've had some people be like, well, how would you feel if somebody took your series and then made a bunch of jokes about it? I'd be like, I would watch the shit out of that. Okay? I want to see people taking the things that they love and reinterpreting them and deconstructing them, because honestly, the world is on fire and we all need hobbies, okay? We all need ways to distract ourselves from the inevitable, uncontrollable hands of fate, okay? So if somebody wants to make a really lewd dub out of Lucky Star with a bunch of other dudes, do it, okay? Have fun, live your f***ing life.
Hey, man.
Dragon Ball Z Abridged is over.
9,000!